Hello, everybody. I'm going to be talking about submission tonight. And man, I just wasted a whole crap ton of time writing out a post and then decided I don't want to ever write posts again. I really hate them. I just want to do videos. So I'm just going to talk about this instead. So, submission. Here's the thing about submission is that a lot of women think that they are naturally submissive when they're not actually submissive. This is really important to understand. If you are looking at submission as like the surface level of submission, then you're really missing what submission is all about, right? It's not just about action. It is not just about following a man's leadership. It's definitely not just following a man's leadership, because submission, if you look at the energy of it, you feel the energy of it as a woman, you're not trying to do anything. All right. There is no conscious or unconscious outcome that you are trying to get. Now, imagine this. Like, here's a situation. You meet a really nice guy. It's really fun. He's awesome, blah, blah, blah. And he leads you to his apartment and into a sexual situation. And in your heart, just doesn't fully feel right. Just like you're really attracted to him, but just like you're not fully comfortable. And, you're not just truly ready to follow his lead. But, you really like him, and, he's quite good at leading and everything, and just and all of that stuff. And at some point you're just like, oh, fuck it, because you don't want him to not like you. You want his approval, and you don't want him to judge you. You don't want to have to deal with that awkward situation, the conversation, any of that stuff. So you just follow his lead. Right? Now, is that submission? No, it's not. It's not. Guess what you're actually doing there? This is weird. This is kind of a mind fuck for women. You got to really think about this. What you're actually doing is leading. What the hell are you talking about, Zach? How are you leading? How is she leading? Well, you're leading by my definition of the word, right, which is a very broad definition of the word of leading, because you are trying to get an outcome, right? And by trying to get an outcome, that can be trying to get a positive outcome, or it can also be trying to avoid a negative outcome, right? Like him abandoning you or judging you or whatever. And so that's not submission. Guess what you're doing? You're actually controlling. Think about that. You're actually energetically controlling by complying to leadership. And so women will often wonder, like, oh, and tell me this on call, like breakthrough calls and everything, or just on my posts, like I'm really submissive and I'm really feminine, and guys just take advantage of me and they use me, and they're not devotional to me. Okay. But are you actually being feminine? Right? Are you actually being submissive? It's really important. It's really, really important. Think about it. Be introspective. Are you being submissive? Are you actually letting go of control, or are you trying to get an outcome or avoid a negative outcome, right? Like all fawning responses, what is that? There's an element of control there, right? You're trying to get an outcome. Now, I'm not saying consciously. You got to understand the difference here. If I'm leading a woman as a man, and I'm very conscious of myself, I'm very conscious of what I'm doing. I am trying to lead to get an outcome, and I'm very aware of it, very conscious of it. There's nothing unconscious there. But for a lot of women, listen, women who have experienced a lot of trauma, like wounding in their life, especially early on in childhood, they are trying to, like both men and women, right? They're always trying to get their needs met in the only way that they really know how, right? And a lot of the responses that are really deeply ingrained in women are to get their needs met, right? To get is the love that they need. Get to avoid the bad reactivity in men or a man, right? Because that's really scary. And so a lot of those patterns, those behavior patterns, are really deeply ingrained in a woman to the point where she's not even truly aware of it. She just knows, yeah, I'm following a man's lead, and it's like, oh, is that submission? But okay, a lot of the time it doesn't even feel that good, right? Or she's not even aware that she doesn't feel good because she's dissociated and not really aware of herself, right? Not really able to introspect in that way. And so she goes through those patterns, and it's a control pattern, right? And I don't say that in a judgmental way in any way. It's just she's just doing all she knows how to do to stay safe, to try to get her needs met. But that's not submission. Okay, that is not submission. That is typically very unconsciously trying to get outcomes, to the point where a woman is not even aware that she is trying to get outcomes. So how would you know? Well, listen, if you're following a man's lead and it just doesn't feel like super relaxing and easy and safe and fun, and like you're receiving a gift, that's probably because you are controlling, right? That you're in that response. Now, it could be, to be fair, it could be one of two situations. You're controlling in the sense that you're like, the way I typically use the term of masculinized, right? Where you're in resistance, you're not able to receive in that way. You're masculine, right? You're not able to receive a man's gifts very easily. And so you resist, you control them, you judge them. But I'm not really talking about that kind of control. I'm talking about the more subtle control, where it looks and even feels to a large degree like, oh, this is a feminine woman, right? Who's following a man's lead. But when your energetic system, you don't feel truly like safe and relaxed, and you are complying. Let's use the word complying, because you're trying to stay safe, right? And there's a good chance that this man is not truly in his dominance. He's not fully, emotionally centered, right? So she might be submitting when the man is kind of like off-centered, or like with critical energy, or maybe she's kind of like a subjugating, controlling energy, or maybe it is a really healthy energy and she's still going through these patterns because her nervous system is just kind of out of whack, right? This is the pattern that she's been in. So this is all really, okay, here's the thing. This is all really, well, it's important to understand for about 50 reasons that I could go into. One of them is, a man's not going to feel devotion to that. It's just not. Even if she's going through all the motions that look very feminine, very submissive, a man is just not going to feel that high degree of inspiration. He's not going to know why. He's just going to feel like, I don't know. I don't feel much here. I don't feel much motivation to serve this woman, to take care of her. The other thing, though, and I want to bring this into communication, feminine communication. Feminine communication is the game changer in all of this, right? Like, women are, they try so hard to figure out how to make these shifts in themselves and develop their self-worth and everything. If you don't know feminine communication, you don't know it inside and out, you don't know how to express your needs, your feelings, your desires, your problems, anything else that you're experiencing, not just the words, but also the energy of it. And that's a submissive energy too, right? Because it's the opposite of control. You're not trying to control anything. You are just letting go with what you're expressing, and you're submitting to what is. Here's my problems. Here's my desire. Here's my feelings, and I'm not going to try to lead any kind of outcome. I'm just expressing. I'm just literally expressing. But yeah, if you cannot do that, then inevitably you are going to be put in situations where you are complying to leadership, and I use the word complying rather than submitting, and it's not truly submission, right? You're trying to get outcomes. And the reason why is because what feminine communication allows you to do is communicate all your needs and everything to a man so that he can adjust his leadership, or at least it's an opportunity for a man to adjust his leadership. It's not the purpose of it, but that is inevitably going to be the outcome, or at least with good men it is. But for women who don't know how to use feminine communication, right, they either just stay silent, or they like sort of use some kind of communication. How is a man going to be able to properly adjust his leadership, right, so that you can actually be in a state of energetic submission? You're in a state of energetic submission when you're honoring your heart, right? It feels good. It feels good. You are just fully relaxed and truly letting go. And a devoted man is going to be leading a woman into submission, right, where she is just honoring her heart, right? A devoted man doesn't want a woman who's dishonoring her heart, right, who does things, who complies with his leadership when it feels like shit, or when it's out of fear, right, rather than like true respect and true submission, where it's a full letting go. A good man doesn't want that. But unless a man is in the academy, or some kind of high level training program for men, most men aren't going to really know the difference. And if they do know the difference, they're definitely not going to know how to lead a woman into that true submission, right? Because imagine for any men watching, a situation where a woman is you can just feel like she's submitting to your leadership, but not I don't even want to use the word submitting, complying to your leadership, but it's not for the right reason. She's not truly letting go. She's actually energetically leading, right? How do you lead her out of that? Do you know how to do that? Not many men do. And then for women, if you notice, here's a tricky situation. You notice now, oh my God, I haven't been submitting most of the time, or a lot of the time, or some of the time. I've just been complying with leadership, but that's why it feels shitty. That's why I feel so unregulated. That's why I feel so anxious, so tense all the time, right? Where I'm not like fully in flow. Okay, great. Now you know that. Now what the hell do you do about it? Well, you got to learn feminine communication. You got to communicate to your man what's going on inside your system, so that a man can adjust his leadership. He understands you and can adjust to help you feel safe, to adjust to center himself if he's off center, adjust to ask how you're feeling a lot of the time, so you don't just end up complying when it doesn't actually feel good, right? Because you're never going to have a dream relationship that way, and you're going to end up attracting inevitably kind of abusive, toxic men most of the time, and then attract abusive, toxic behavior from men, right? Because you can attract the best side from men, and you can also attract the worst side. So, if you're like one of those submissive women, or women who thinks that they're submissive anyway, and you keep being in these situations with men who are just not really treating you very well, who are taking advantage, or they just following their leadership does not feel amazing. All right, we'll just put it that way. Following their leadership does not feel amazing. Well, you better learn feminine communication. Let's put it that way. It makes everything possible. Because if you learn masculine communication, here's the problem. If you learn masculine communication, that's not going to fix anything. It's not going to fix anything, because explaining things to a man with masculine communication, soften masculine communication as well, a man's not going to be inspired to adjust his leadership. It's going to irritate him. He's not going to feel more devotion to your heart. He's not going to feel like he wants to be more considerate. No, it's not going to work. The only way for healthy submission to work, I should make this a quote. something like it. The only way for healthy submission to work is to master feminine communication. There is no other way. If it was just as easy as like complying to a man's leadership, so oh, boom, done. Okay, I'll just let go and not say anything anymore, and all my needs will be met. And my man will just give me everything I want. I don't have to be responsible in any way for any expressing any of my needs, or or for my for my following. Like, you have to be responsible as a follower, right? Like, that's just as important as the role as a leader. It's just different. It's very different. You need to be responsible for your own heart and ensure that when you're following, it's actually submission and not just compliance and dishonoring your heart. And because you're actually subtly trying to control, because you're going to end up getting hurt that way. Like, what woman has not been hurt, at least emotionally, if not physically, sexually, other ways, because she dishonored her heart, right? She exposed herself to situations and, followed situations that she shouldn't have. Feminine communication shifts that, and it also shifts women into their self-worth. Why would a woman not use feminine communication? It's because she lacks feminine self-worth. Yeah. And if she lacks feminine self-worth, then she's not actually in energetic submission, right? Like I said, she's just subtly controlling by complying, trying to get outcomes, trying to get approval, trying to avoid abandonment, trying to get love, trying to get devotion, trying to avoid judgment, trying to avoid reactivity, trying to avoid hurting a man's feelings. You need to learn how to communicate. You got to take responsibility for that. But the good news is, if you know that you are not truly able to submit all the time, it's challenging for you. You notice that you actually do have really subtle control tendencies in that way, and you're operating from that fear or approval seeking or whatever it is. You need to join our 2-hour masterclass, Mark Benet and I, where we break all this down for you. We show you what feminine communication looks like. We show you how to use it in situations with the man when there's a problem, when there's an argument, when he's leading you to do something that you don't want to do. Pretty much any situation you can think of. That's what's going to solve these issues. So, if you've been following men's leadership and not getting devotion, feminine communication is what's going to shift that for you. It's going to shift you into your self-worth. It's also going to help you learn when to walk away from toxic, undevotional situations. And it's going to result in you getting everything you want in your love life. If you don't learn feminine communication, forget about it. It's just not going to happen. Not long term. It can't. You can't. You can't get your needs met when you don't know how to properly communicate your needs as a woman. It's as simple as that. So, comment I want in below. I want to hear from you. If you have not been to our masterclass yet, it's going to really open your eyes to so many things. You can get instant results, and it's actually practical. It's applicable. You can apply it into your love life that day. We do role plays so that you actually see what this looks like, this feminine communication as well as masculine communication in action. You see what leadership, like devotional leadership and submission, look together. It's a lot different than anything you've read in my books or watched on these videos. So comment I want in below in the comments, and I will send you a message with the link to the masterclass. You can sign up. June's already sold out. Our most upcoming one in July is going to be sold out probably today or tomorrow. So hurry up with that I want in, and we have another one in July. So that's not till the end of July. So comment I want in below, and I will send you that link.